And don't forget, we are also live on our partner media houses. We are live on BMTV, and BMTV is on channel 114 on Topstar, and also are live on the Facebook page, which is BMTV Zambia. Like the page and share it. Leave us a comment. We'll be glad to hear from you. We are also live on our Facebook page, that's 5FM Radio Zambia, and also live on our partner radio station, Katete FM, on 103.3 in Katete, Eastern Province, and also live in Central Province. In Central Province, we are live on Spice FM on 91.1, and not forgetting live also on ZFM in Kapiri on 100.3 FM. And Copperbelt is well covered. We are live also on Platinum Radio, and that is on 997 in Ndola, and also live on Tuta FM in Mansa. And Tuta FM is on 90.7 and covering the rest of Luapula Province. We are also live on Isunga Radio, that is in Senga Hill, Northern Province, and of course on 88.3. Later on in the course of the program, I will give you an opportunity to you, our listener, to call in and interact with our guest today. And let me take this opportunity to introduce our guest. This morning, we're privileged to host Mr. Kelvin Fube Bwalya. He is president of Zambia Must Prosper Party and a renowned lawyer. We are grateful to have you on this program. We haven't spoken in a long time now. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. How are you, Zach? And good morning to our viewers, those who are watching, and
Right.
listeners across the country.
Right.
Quite a array of listening in you have there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And first of all, we thank you for coming. I know that this is a very crucial period where we want to listen to as many presidential candidates as possible, considering that Zambians need to make up sound minds. I mean, sound minds need to make up a very important decision. And I know that most Zambians are still wondering and still thinking of who will be the next president, who will be the best opposition to obviously counter the current president and obviously the current political party. First of all, congratulations on successful presenting the required 1,000 supporters as prescribed by law. And what does this milestone mean for you, for Zambia Must Prosper and your presidential ambitions heading into 2026?
Well, thank you, Zach. And let me begin by saying that the victory is not mine. It's not an individual victory. This is the people's victory, for the people, by the people. This victory is a legal requirement, as you have observed, which is true. But also, more importantly, we were able to garner almost 3,000-4,000 supporters, but the law requires just 1,000, which is okay for us.
Right.
But what this tells the Zambian people is this: Zambia Must Prosper is not a regional enterprise or a regional party like some other political parties. It is of a national character. It is across the country. Secondly, Zambia Must Prosper has got grassroots across the country again. It also speaks to the fact that we are ready to run in these elections. This was at a very short notice. You remember when we had the meeting with the HZ, they had told us that we should propose dates when we thought we could do these pre-processing measures. The date we proposed was not the date that was given to us. But even with that short period, we were able to activate our members, our provincial chairmen across the country, and they were able to move personnel and our cadres to go and make sure that this legal requirement is met, which we did. So this is not my victory. It's a victory for the Zambian people to show our readiness to move forward.
Zambia's political landscape is becoming increasingly competitive,
Right.
with more parties and candidates emerging ahead of this particular election. How prepared is Zambia Must Prosper to compete against both the ruling party and established opposition forces?
We're not just ready. We have been ready. And we've been ready from the get-go. We are ready because we know how to run elections. We've been in the seat before, and we shall always be ready. We are ready because our structures across the country are also ready. But we are ready because the Zambian people are fed up with the UPND government. And that is one thing we cannot let them down on. So we want to make sure that in everything we prepare to do, we set out measures for our monitors, our polling agents, our cadres, and the Zambian people. Remember, Zach, there are more partyless Zambians than there are Zambians who belong to political parties. People may not know this. When the PF won elections, they did not have more than 400,000 on their books as members of that political party. But they won. When the UPND won, they did not have more than 365,000 active members of UPND in 2021, but they won by 2.8 million. It is the partyless Zambians, those Zambians that sit on the fence, those Zambians that are not allowed to participate in elections, like the civil servants, the police, the army. Those are the ones who decide that we're fed up with this government. And they move. So we are ready because the Zambians are ready. And that's the way we're going to go.
And these are partyless Zambians that you're making reference to?
Yes, partyless. There are more partyless Zambians than there are those who belong to political structures. There are more. And those are the people we should be targeting running into these elections, because those are the ones who are affected by this economy. Those are the ones who are affected by the policies of the UPND. And those are the ones who are disappointed with the UPND.
Zambians at the same time are looking for a credible alternative. And many young Zambians are frustrated by unemployment, high cost of living, the limited economic opportunities. What concrete policies does your party have to address youth unemployment and reduce poverty?
Well, the first thing is Zambian youths do not need slogans. Zambian youths do not need Soti Sana. No. That's confusing people. Zambian youths need people who understand the history of this country. And that's what Zambia Must Prosper is bringing to the table. We can't blame our forefathers, in this case UNIP, for instance, as a founding party, because they were coming from the Cha-Cha-Cha era, winning our independence from the colonial masters and just pushing. They were not really ready for leadership at the time. But some of us who have come after this, educated by the First Republic, we must take stock. What is it that is the problem with the youth in Zambia? And split the youths into categories, not just because we want them to be dancing for us. We want them youth to be sent to go and fight. In Zambia Must Prosper, we have a slogan. Yufi kulwa no wongo. We also believe as a principle and a policy of the party that every youth must be at school or at work. When you look at those, you know that Zambia Must Prosper is a peaceful party. We don't want to abuse our youths. Our youth must be dissected into various columns. Those who are intellectually gifted, those who are going to be our professionals, the doctors, the lawyers, the accountants, we are going to push them into school and ensure that they carry on and become the professionals for tomorrow. Those who are skilled, there must be a deliberate policy by the government to ensure that skills development becomes a reality. Credit lines must be open for our youths. We believe also by another policy within Zambia Must Prosper, the Triple M policy, mentorship. The youths need to be mentored. The youths need to understand what money represents. The youths need to understand what marketing is. These M's are cardinal. So mentorship, understanding what money is, and marketing. But our youths must also move away. And I say this deliberately. Our youth must move away from always trying to seek employment. There's this belief which has been drilled in most of our Zambian youths that the only way you survive is getting a job in a parastatal, in a government, or in the civil service. No, that is not the way you think. Some of the richest people today are young people, but they've taken risks. How have they taken the risks? They've taken risks because of the mindset. We need to change the mindset of the youths. We need to have more youths taking risks. The only way they take risks is when they are given opportunities like credit facilities. They are given opportunities to use their skills, their talents. That is why for us, when we say every youth at school or at work, the work aspect talks about a youth's initiative, a youth's talent as given by God. Those that play soccer must be the best at soccer. Those that sing must be the best at singing. Those that are in drama, literature, they must be the best in the arts. And that is what Zambia Must Prosper is going to promote. So what we want to move away from is this element of bounding the youths into one category to say they're all youths. No. There are different types of youths. And Zambia Must Prosper has already studied this. And this is what we're going to do.
Mm. Interesting. And I'm also aware that critics have often argued that opposition political parties in Zambia fail because of divisions and personal ambitions.
Right.
Are you open to alliances or cooperations with other opposition leaders ahead of this election?
Zambia Must Prosper has always been open to alliances. If you recall, before the late President Lungu died,
right,
he had summoned me for discussions. I think this is a time when he realized that he wasn't going to stand and his eligibility was going to be put into question.
Right.
So we began to have meetings. He said, among other things, that he wanted to work with Zambia Must Prosper and my late sister's political party, Edith Nawakwe,
right,
FDD,
right,
and say, one of these two political parties will have to come and sit with us and partner. We agreed. Unfortunately, my sister died, as you know. He died as well, but I'm here. And Zambia Must Prosper began to advance, not once, not twice, many times, publicly and otherwise, to our friends in the opposition. Let's move. We need to come together. However, Zambia Must Prosper's alliance, if any, must be based on the notion or principle of Zambia first. We don't want an alliance where leaders, first of all, bring their egos, bring their pride, bring their confusion to the fore, and they want us to join that confusion. No. If you noticed, when we followed the late President Lungu in Tonse, we were moving quite smoothly. After his demise, Tonse became a bit problematic for us because, titles became an issue. Discussions such as Anchor Party, trying to treat other political parties as if they are not important, but other political parties were bigger and more important. When you're going to form an alliance, you must treat everybody as an equal. Because even the Bible, in the book of Psalms, will tell you, the little stone that you throw away, somewhere along the line becomes the cornerstone for the foundation. And if that little stone is not there, your foundation begins to crack and you may fall. So everybody must be treated equally at the table. This notion of having to think we're the big brother in alliances doesn't work. It may work when you come to say, let's agree on portfolios. But when you're meeting to discuss, consider to respect everybody. So we believe, as Zambia must prosper, that yes, alliances are important, but they are not blind alliances. They are conditional. We must be treated with respect. We must be treated as equal partners, and we must be treated on the basis that we're aiming to do the same thing and for the same people, the Zambian people. So the Zambians must come first. If we see greed, Zambia must prosper will pull away. If we see pride, no. If we see egos on the table, Zambia must prosper is not interested in that. No. No.
Zambia must prosper did at some point get into an alliance with the UPND, especially towards the 2021 elections.
Zambia must prosper. No, let me correct you,
right.
Zach. At that time, we were a political movement. We were not a political party.
You had not registered.
We had not registered at the time.
But I believe principles remained in you as a
exactly.
leader.
But we were treated, even as a movement, we were treated at the table, same as every other president. At the table.
Was it because you advanced that condition?
Yes, of course.
Or is it something? Is it an environment you found?
No. For me, it's the principle. It's the principle. I did more work under the alliance as a movement for Aga in the Ichilem than perhaps the people I found there. For example, not that I need to bring this in a bad way.
Right.
No. When the alliance won the elections, the president called me. Mwana, you shall lead this delegation to go and get government from the PF. The secretary of the cabinet is our colleague. We were together on campus. Then Simon Miti.
Yes.
I led that delegation. There were other eminent people who would have led that delegation, but from the Council of Presidents, I was chosen to go and lead. Because I'd done this before, when PF had won power from the MMD. And because the then Secretary of the Cabinet, Simon Miti, was also a colleague. So we needed a smooth transition where we discussed how the inauguration was going to be conducted, who was going to be invited, and who was going to be the interface between the president-elect and the outgoing president. And I sat there. In almost all the meetings Aga in the Ichilema had, I was there. Even when they were the last meeting they had at the home of Arabi.
That's right.
I was there. I was the one who took Aga in the Ichilema to go and meet late President Lungu, President Kikwete, late President Banda, and the other presidents to see how the inauguration was going to run. So I know that we were treated with the amount of respect that we demanded. So for me, that's the kind of thing I'm bringing to the table. Honesty, truthfulness, and transparency.
If that was the environment at the time, that and the respect that you were given, you should have been with that alliance by now.
No, but there were other factors as well, isn't it? Yes, I was given respect and everything else, maybe at a personal level, because the president is a friend of mine. I won't deny him. Just like I've told people on this forum and others, the Attorney General was my classmate, he's a friend. I've got friends who are judges, yes. As high as the Constitutional Court, Court of Appeal, yes. But that friendship aside, when principle becomes an issue for me, the principle must be respected. And the difficulty with the UPND alliance was not even about positions, no. It was the fact that they started veering off what we had promised the Zambian people. When the lies began to emerge, and when we now formed and transformed Zambia Must Prosper into a political party, I couldn't be part of the lies. Why did you want me to continue? I can't.
What lies are you referring to?
Too many lies, Wazak. Look at the economy. You know the lies. We've got a lying president in State House. You know that. It's not the first time I've said that. Go back in the clips. You know the president is a liar. He's lied on a lot of things. The promises he made, he hasn't fulfilled. Is the minimum at 50 kwacha? Is the fertilizer at 250? No, those are lies. He stood up and promised. He promised no load shedding. The load shedding came back. For 3.5 years, this country suffered. We've killed industries. Small-scale businesses have died because of the lies. Do you want me to go on?
Please do.
No, I think we go back to the program.
Please do, because
No,
also,
I'm not here. I'm not here
also
to.
there are
I'm not here to
certain
just.
things. There are certain things, for example, on load shedding that were beyond his
With
his
respect,
capacity.
With respect, Vazak, let's not make Hakainde Hichilema the subject of this discussion.
Fine.
I think it was just a way of me explaining the principle and where we
made you leave the alliance. But what message? But what message in this case are you sending to Zambians who feel disappointed by both the ruling party and the traditional opposition, and who believe the country lacks genuine alternative leadership?
Let me say this to the frustrated Zambians, the frustrated partyless Zambians who are the majority. I want to say that I see you. I feel your pain. I hear you. I believe we can do better as a nation. And that is what we believe as Zambia must prosper. So the message to them is, don't lose hope. Hope is on the way. Zambia must prosper. Understand what you're going through. And we can change this country. And we will change this country. So that's the message I have for them. Yes.
As campaigns begin to intensify, concerns over political violence, intimidation, and intolerance continue to surface. What responsibility do political leaders have in ensuring peaceful and issue-based campaigns?
Let me say that peace starts with our leaders, ourselves. And if you're a violent man, you transfer that violence to your cadres. If you're a violent leader, you transfer that to, your structures. And they see that. We know for a fact that there was a lot of violence between the UPND and the PF. And that DNA has not really left the two parties. Zambia Must Prosper is a peaceful party. We don't believe in violence. We are hoping that in these coming elections, when the UPND begins to see that the finish line is not theirs, they won't turn into violence.
You think they would?
They have already shown propensities, yes. They have.
How so?
We have intel. We have a lot of intelligence as to what's happening in the UPND. The UPND right now is desperate. The UPND is getting frustrated. The UPND is in disarray. The UPND is in turmoil and confusion. Don't see the facade of government because the president is in power. Look at the party. Part of the reason why they are holding on to original certificates for some of their members is they don't want them to leave when they apply, because they know that they will leave and go and stand as independents. So they are confiscating their original certificates. That is against the rights that you and I enjoy. The liberty that you can associate with anybody that you want is an issue. If you are not going to adopt somebody, let him feel free to go and stand on another political party or stand as an independent if you think you can win. They don't want independence. They don't want other candidates to leave them. That is forcing people to remain in a party the way they don't want to remain. That's not correct. We don't believe in that. So for us, we are saying to the Zambian people, look at the kind of leadership. When UPND was in the opposition, there was gassing, for instance. You remember?
Yeah.
Some markets were being burnt. Huge markets were catching fire mysteriously. What was the promise given by Hakainde Hichilema? When we come into power, we're going to investigate all these things. Have you seen an investigation? Have you heard of any investigation being done? No. Why? You, as investigative journalists, go and ask. This promise which you made that you're going to investigate this particular or these particular crimes, why haven't you investigated them? That's the point I'm making. So for me, it's a question of the lies. Why are the lies coming up? Every so often, you make a promise, you lie. You don't keep the promise. So if you're a peaceful guy and you promise that this kind of crime was going to be investigated, prove it. There was violence. UPND hacked people in Kanyama. We have this documented. I'm not saying things which didn't happen. This is a very dangerous organization if left to its fancies and whims. I'm not saying the PF didn't do the same. We've got some leaders in PF, for instance, who are facing jail time because of the violence. But equally, the UPND was a violent gangster organization. And they did that. So we must be clear. Are these the kind of leaders we want to retain? Are these the kind of elections we want to have? No. So when you see that you are about to lose elections, let's not get violent. Let's accept that you can be beaten at an election and you must just say, I'm handing over power. Even with the violence of PF and everything else, at least credit goes to Lungu. ECA was able to hand over power peacefully. There was no violence. I know there were rumors that he wanted to refuse to hand over power and things. No, he didn't. I was in those meetings with Hakainde Hichilema. I was in the meeting at RB's home. Hakainde Hichilema knows that. I was talking to Simon Miti, then Secretary to the Cabinet, almost on a daily basis when we were trying to transfer power. Eventually, a committee was set up for the inauguration, both with government and the President-elect's office. There was nothing. Lungu did not resist. No, he handed over peacefully. I want Hakainde Hichilema to promise the Zambians is going to do the same. Because that's what leaders do.
I find you strange. First of all, I find you kingmaker.
Yes.
Well, you claim that.
No, I don't claim.
Of course.
That's what you people have given me that title.
So we'll take it like you are known as kingmaker.
Yes.
But at the same time, hard to trust because you can't be so loyal to the kings you make. You don't stay loyal to.
No.
You played a role in the victory of Edgar Lungu in 2015.
Ask the correct questions.
You played a role,
no.
like you say, in Hakainde Hichilema's victory.
Yes.
But again, you're not on their side. You're never with them.
2 steps
all
back.
the way.
2 steps back, Razak. 2 steps back. Ask the correct questions. When you put it like that, you're misleading the Zambians. I'm a very easy guy to work with. Extremely easy. Extremely easy. That's why people come and want to work with me. Because I'm easygoing. But when you lie, you're not calling out the lies. You want to call the guy who walks away from the lies. Be fair. Look,
because it's your duty. I believe it's your duty when you make a king to always maintain the integrity in the king.
Even in the lies. Come on. What are you trying to tell me? I'm not a fool. No, I'm a principled person. If the principle doesn't, impress you, then I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'll walk away. Because that's who I am. For example, when Basata told us to help him, did I walk away from Basata? No. We agreed with the late Michael Chilofya Sata. Shikulu, mwachula na bantu bo mwaisa nabo, mulifyonze fo mwapitamo. Baleke nbasende nchito. We'll sit on the sidelines. We'll still give you legal advice, legal representation, etc. We maintained our committee. And we had access to the president. We promised the president, come 2016, we're coming to join government. But for now, at least give these cadres their dues because they've been with you long enough. Lo and behold, 2014 he dies. Is that my fault, Razak? When God calls you and you die, is that my fault?
No, it's not.
Exactly. But I was the fourth person. The acting president, Edgar Changa Lungu the late, was calling to Lewanika House at his home when he was minister.
Yeah.
Why? Because he knew, without this guy, I don't win. So we make him president. Okay? I didn't leave the PF. This is why I'm saying your question is wrong. I did not leave the PF. Heading to the 2021, first we make him win in 2015. We make him win in 2016. What more loyalty do you want? But when he said he wanted 2021, I said, no, the principle. In your intros, you said I'm a lawyer. I didn't say that. You said.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes. What do lawyers do? You uphold and defend the constitution of this country as by law established. I looked the president in the eye, late president, as an older brother. I said, you're a lawyer, just like I am. This is the third term. I can't support this. Was I wrong? The people around ECL said I was a bad person. Expel this guy. He doesn't want to toe the line. They expelled me for telling the truth. Zach, that is the sequence of events, not the way you're putting it. It's not about trust. No, when my principles are challenged, I walk away. That's who I am. That doesn't change me. No, they changed because of greed. They wanted to remain in power, even when ECO was not qualified. So, before he dies, may his soul rest in peace. Why did he call me? Why did he call me? He called me because he wanted to make peace. He called me and told me, Mwachowand, I didn't know. If I had listened to you, I said, Bakalamba, I told you, pali chimwachita, mukashala muri mwamuneni. Just before Christmas in 2024, what did the Concord say? 10th December 2024, there was a judgment.
Yeah.
Exactly what I told the PF. This is wrong. This is a third term. The Concord came and said, Mr. Lungu, you are not eligible to stand. Where did I go wrong? Why is it, Zach? That's the question you must be asking. Why is it that Zambians don't want to be told the truth? Especially when we are coming from a humble, very humble, professional side. I'm a lawyer. You will not force me to do any illegalities simply because you want to impress yourself politically. It can't happen. No. So that's the difference with the APF. Yeah. With the Aka in the HLM and the UPND alliance, I've already put it on record.
Right.
I've alluded to the reasons why we separated. Ubufiwadi Tampa. Even now, he's still lying. Even things that he didn't work for, he wants to go and commission. No. For example, the Kazungula Bridge. He wants to recommission that bridge. No, that was done by PF. Why do you want to recommission that? The pineapple factory in Mwinilunga, he wants to go and recommission. No, those things were done by PF. Show us what you've done. The only things he has done is tuma toilet kukitwe. Turo tumbusu tudia. That's the commissioning he has done. The rest, no.
So you tell me. Is this the case of from Kingmaker to Anna Mekwan self?
I have said to my party members, and I have said to the Zambian people, make me. I have made others. Mpangeni no mbani mwevu. So mwevu ni wazaki. Mpangeni.
Your supporters who you allude to describe you as a champion of economic transformation.
Yes.
In practical terms, how would your leadership differ from previous administrations in handling Zambia's economy, especially debt and investment climate?
There are a lot of factors that we have to take into account. But the first thing we must do as a country is there must be fiscal discipline. First, internally, by ourselves, as a country, before we relate to other people. But also, we must know who our friends are going to be. And by our friends, I mean, who do you want to work with at the international level? Our forefathers, the Kaundas and the Nyereres and those of the founding fathers of Africa, told us, We are not strong enough to fight economically against the superpowers, but at least they left us a movement, the non-aligned movement. I believe we start by way of foreign policy and say to all our friends, we are going to remain non-aligned. We are going to remain as neutral as we can in international affairs, but we shall vote with our conscience. And we shall dictate our friends based on who runs to help us when we need the help. That is important. Because if you don't have the principles, if you don't have the perimeters, the boundaries set out, you can never run an economy. The UPND, for instance, came on the platform that they are going to instill fiscal discipline, that Bali was going to fix it. What have they fixed? They have borrowed more money than the PF, domestically and internationally. What is there to show for? Nothing. At least the PF borrowed and they built infrastructure. So when we talk of fiscal discipline, we must change some rules, but internally, equally, we must change some laws. We are a nation endowed with mineral resources, but our biggest resource is human factor. We have a very youthful economy, a population which is generally youth. 82.2% of this country is youth. That is human capital. We must move this human capital into the agriculture sector. We must move this human capital into developmental projects, value addition. That's who we must become. We must change the mining laws. We must change the banking laws. We must change the immigration laws. We must change the land laws. We must change the water rights laws. We must change the economic laws generally to suit our circumstances. Every country is run by the laws that it has on the table. The colonial masters left us laws. These are imperial laws, colonial laws, which we are still using today. So whatever economic policy you're going to come up with, as long as you don't change the law of Zax, it won't help you. Why? Because the law is tilted to suit the guys who sat at the Berlin Conference in 1884-85. They left their grandchildren and great-grandchildren to come and inherit those laws, to benefit from those laws. We can't. 60 plus years of independence. We can't be depending on colonial laws. Look at a nation like India. They were also colonized by the Brits, just like us. Look at a nation like Zimbabwe. Look at a nation like Botswana. These colonial laws, Ghana, Nigeria, they are the same. What changes is just the name. Zambia, Nigeria, Ghana. No. We must change what's inside the statute. The meaning of who a Zambian is, the meaning of who benefits from the resources of Zambia and what is under the earth, the rivers and the forests of Zambia. That is how you change an economy. The law first must change. The banking laws, for example. How many indigenous banks today will lend you money based on the fact that you're a Zambian? None. Why? Because the commercial laws suit what they want to do in Washington, what they want to do in Berlin and London. That's not who we are. How many women at Soweto Market, Chisokone Market, Chiwempala Market have got credit? How many women have got collateral? But there's more business that is traded at these markets than than the money that is traded in Cairo Road. So we must change these laws to make sure that the women understand that their own credibility is enough to have credit lines. Those are the things that Zambia Must Prosper has evaluated. Those are the things that we have examined, and those are the things we want to change. Without changing that, I am sorry, whichever policy you're going to put in place will not work. This FM, 5FM radio station, you've been in existence for how many years, Wazax?
22, 23 now.
Do you know how much credibility you've built up? That should speak for you. So when you go to a bank and say we are 5FM and we have been running for so long, we've got a listenership, a viewership of this magnitude, and we've got this and this business level of business we can bring in per month, the bank manager must take into account those and tick the boxes. That is what happens when these rich people meet in Washington, in Berlin, in London, in Tokyo. It is credibility. 3/4 of them don't have money, but someone speaks for them. And the first thing that speaks about them is their credibility, it is their character. If that is not measured on your part, you will never get a loan. That is the way we've understood this thing as Zambia must prosper. The law first must change.
I'll come back to changing laws.
Thank you.
Because I'm sure we are at it as a country now. And let me quickly remind our listeners that this is the Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue here on 5FM Radio. Our guest is Mr. Kelvin Fube Bwalya. He is president of Zambia Must Prosper Party. And of course, today we are having a conversation around the credibility of the party, the leadership, heading into this particular election in August. Now, some citizens have expressed concern about the impartiality of state institutions during elections, for example. How confident are you that the Electoral Commission and the other institutions can deliver a free, fair, and transparent electoral process?
ECZ. We must first accept that ECZ is a legal institution.
Right.
It is, regulated by a statute. Our confidence in the ECZ is based on the fact that it's a statutory creation. But our confidence in the ECZ is not blind and it is not total. No. Our confidence in the ECZ delivering a credible election is conditional. Conditional on the fact that, one, we believe that the law will be respected, but we are conscious of the fact that it is full of cadres. So we don't trust them. We trust the law. We don't trust the personnel. What the law says is not likely what is going to happen because of the personnel. If you look at the previous arrangements in how the ECZ was structured, usually the chairperson of the ECZ was a judge, impartial. Now you've got my older sister, Womwangala Zalomis, a known cadre of the UPND, chairing that commission. I have a problem with that. You've got McDonald Chipenzi, a known cadre of the UPND, in that commission. I have a problem with that. You've got Kasalo as CEO of the Electoral Commission. I have a problem with that. In 2016, we had issues with Kasalo at Mulungushi. I haven't forgotten. He was doing funny things. When we were in the PF. So I remember things. In that regard, I have a very long history with the ECZ. So I know that we don't trust the ECZ completely, but we trust the law. So our confidence in the institution is not blind. No, it's conditional. But I have said this before, I'll say it again. Those officers there must know that they are not immune to prosecution. It's not a threat, it's a friendly warning. They are not immune to prosecution. So if they do something wrong and the government changes, they will be investigated. It's a promise. Because that's how we are going to cleanse such institutions. People must not come to an institution with their mind that I have someone to impress because he's a president. No. I think you'll recall, Zach, there was a meeting of the Electoral Commission of Zambia and political parties when Wasata was still alive.
Yeah.
And there was objections that he raised when the late Chief Justice Irene Mambirima was sitting as commissioner chairperson. And Basata confronted her. She didn't fight. She took it in because she's a trained judge. That's what judges do. Today, unfortunately, even when we have meetings as political parties, my older sister, Mwangala Zalomes, is not of that mind. She comes with the view of trying to impose whatever they've discussed in the background. That's not how you run elections. But we are aware of certain things, and we are watching. And we shall keep watching. So when you say, do we have confidence in the ECZ, is conditional. We believe in the law, but we don't trust the personnel. So we hope they understand that superior orders, from wherever the orders are coming from, are not defense to a criminal offense if they commit an offense.
You have often spoken strongly about governance and accountability.
Yes.
If elected president, what immediate reforms would you prioritize within your first 100 days in office?
Well, first of all, it won't take me 5 months to set up government like it took Aga in the Ichirema. When you're running for office, you must be ready. You must have the personnel. You must have people in platforms, in portfolios ready and set. So the first thing is, like I said, we have identified some of the laws that we're going to change. And we need to change those laws quickly. In fact, some of these laws which are being enacted of late, these ones which are being rushed,
the bills, yeah.
The bills, which are turning into laws now as acts of parliament, most of these will have to be reviewed. You allow me to read. I was reading some of these before I came here.
Yeah.
You have the Public Gathering Act.
Yeah.
Which they want to use as a replacement of the Public Order Act. You have the Electoral Process Bill, which they want to run these elections coming under. You've got the Mobile Money Transaction Bill. You've got the Employment Bill. I'm sorry, I haven't studied them deeply, but just a casual reading. These are draconian laws. Draconian laws. The Public Gathering Act, for example, I don't know how much history you know, Zach, but I'm a student of history.
Right.
Yeah. And in the 1700s, when slavery was still going on, there was such an act as this one, where slaves could not meet more than 3 or 5. It was an offense. It was a criminal offense. When the slaves were meeting, they were supposed to be in the cotton field, in the sugar plantations, and in the whatever plantations they were working from. But to have a meeting, the only place they were allowed to have a meeting was church. If 3, 4 slaves gathered together and a white man found them, he could charge them and take them to a magistrate and have them prosecuted and hang. Is this what we want here? You cannot tell me that during, for example, an election period as we're entering, for every rally that I need to hold as a president of a political party, I need to go and speak to an inspector of a district. For what? This is an election period. Why am I going to be asking for permission? I'm free to associate. I'm free to express myself. I have the freedom of speech. I should engage with my electorate and the Zambian people. I cannot just be using radio and television. No, I must be allowed to mingle. I must be allowed to address rallies. Why is this act coming in?
But obviously this will not apply during elections, because after dissolution of parliament, then it's automatically an indication that you are all free to go and campaign. So it may not apply during this campaign period, no?
Do you know who you're dealing with? You're dealing with the UPND. You're dealing with the UPND. How this is interpreted is dependent on how the UPND feels. You've got to be very careful. When such a law is being enacted, there is obviously somebody this law is intended to affect. I don't trust the UPND. And I'm asking the Zambians not to trust the UPND on this particular statute. Hakainde Hichilema, when he was in opposition as leader of the UPND for 23 years, he was singing about coming to abolish and change the Public Order Act because it blocked this, it blocked that, it blocked. Why is he bringing this draconian law? The Public Order Act, for instance, doesn't tell you how many people must be together. This one is telling you for 3 or 4 of you to gather. The interpretation there is dangerous because if you take a literal interpretation, not the mischief, there are canons of interpretation at law. So if you take a literal interpretation and you have a magistrate, with the due respect, who may not understand what it means, you simply say, how many were you? No, we were 10. You've contravened the law. That's it. Then what? Before you explain, before you go to the High Court, maybe they'll be more reasonable there. You're in jail. Do you understand, Bazak? So laws like this, in my mind, take me back as a historian to the 1700s, where slaves were not allowed to gather more than 3 or 5. They committed an offense. This is a free country. For the love of God, what are we going to do when we have such draconian laws on our books? So you asked me, some of these things, we come into office, we shall review. And we'll be telling the people when we go into starting campaigns now, these are the laws we want to change. For example, there's a mobile money transaction bill here. Do you know what they want to do on your mobile phone now? Do you know what they want to do with your money when you transfer money? There are issues. I was talking of the banking laws. This, for me, I may not have the evidence, but my understanding is the banks have gone to government and the government has bent to listen to them. Mobile money is taking over banking. So the banks are being affected. They go and tell the government to pass this bill so that the banks are protected. You don't need a bank account in today's world. You need a phone. And most transactions such as these are going to be done on phone. So they want to start monitoring your phone. So, Zach, what you have is there's the cyber laws. They monitor your phones. Now they'll be monitoring your transactions on your phones. Let's be serious. These laws are draconian. And we should dig deeper into them and understand what is it, what's the rationale, what's the reasoning behind these laws. You've got the employment code bill. I mean, what is wrong with the employment law today? You've got so many labor laws. But here again, you must look at what I've been saying. Our natural resources are generally controlled by colonial masters because of the laws they left us. So this employment now is supposed to regulate what? How you're going to be employed? Who's going to employ you? What you're going to do? The relationship between you and that person? No. This is a contractual relationship. Government must not come in. Contractual relationships are private law. They must be left there. Your relationship with 5FM is contractual here. It's a private matter. Why should government begin to regulate? You only regulate when there's a problem. So what is the mischief that is required to be or intended to be cured by this act? All these things, like I said, I haven't gone into deep studies, but these are 74 bills which are being rushed in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks of Parliament sitting. We've got to look at all these things and begin to understand. It's just the same as I was being misunderstood a few weeks ago when I said some of our colleagues who have paid 100,000 may not be on the ballot. Why? Because when you read the electoral bill, you read what the ECZ is doing, you try to marry these things, and you, who is a visionary, look and say, what is the intention here? You're trying to warn your brothers. My brothers, It's not out of spite. No. I want you to understand. Wale mi se tinga. Look at this and look at this and look at this. You go and hire people in the diaspora to start insulting KBF because he's telling you the truth. No. Uwakwebelemfo yakwanoko mutanshi. Pamenso ya muno witapemankala mwaikudia. We speak the truth. And the truth must set us free. So when you are warned or forewarned by a friend, it's not like he wishes you ill. I'm trying to say be prepared. There's a trick here. Now, because you can't read it the way I read it, you can't understand it the way I understand it, don't blame me when it happens. Because I've forewarned you. I've been sitting behind the desk for 40 years as a lawyer. I've always said to young lawyers, even those that study law, there's a difference between paper law and trial law. You can read the law on paper. You haven't practiced it. You haven't taken it to court. You haven't challenged it. You haven't tested it in court. When you take it to court and the judge says, not the way you read it, the interpretation is this side. What does that mean? Then you're going to turn around and say, no, but KBF alituebere. Exactly what I told the late ECL. This is a third term. For me, I can't support it. So when we speak about the law, some of us come from a position of experience. Our little experience. At least, if you don't like me as a person, fine. But at least value my little experience. I have stood in courts. I've argued before judges. Some of these so-called public lawyers, they've never even handled the law. Not even a court case. But you want to listen to their opinions because they've got a platform. Na papata. Mwewe na Zambia. Na papata. Tule umfuana. When it comes to the law, always look at the mischief that is intended to be cured. And if there is no mischief, just know this law is targeted at individuals. Now, when somebody like me brings it to the fore and I tell you what I see here is this, don't come and start attacking me like I'm the enemy. No, we are on the same side. But I'm trying to prepare you, trying to forewarn you. That's all this means. So these laws and other laws, for me, will be a starting point. We have to nullify them immediately. This is one of the reasons why we're asking as many members of parliament to join as candidates for Zambia Must Prosper. We need a majority. Those that don't want to stand on political parties, stand as independents. But for the love of Zambia, don't go and stand under UPND. The Zambians will not vote for you because they don't like the UPND. They've seen the many lies the UPND has given the Zambian people and the destruction of the economy. So let's put our hands together and work together to ensure that we liberate this country called Zambia.
This is the Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue here on the Happy Word of 5 FM radio and on many other platforms. We are live on BMTV, and that is on channel 114 on Topstar, but also live on their Facebook page, BMTV Zambia. Also live on Katete FM in Katete, covering the entire Eastern Province. Live in Kabwe and Central Province on Spice FM. So is ZFM in Kapiri. And live as well on Platinum Radio in Ndola and the rest of the Copper Belt. Live on Tuta FM in Mansa and Wapula Province. And on Isunga Radio in Senga Hill, Northern Province as well. And remember, we are also live on our Facebook page. That's 5FM Radio Zambia. Today, I will take your phone calls via 0761 912493. That's the number that you'll be calling us on. I will repeat, 0761 912493. Once again, 0761 912493. Just take note of that. That's the number you'll be calling us on for your live cause on this particular program. Our guest once again is Mr. Kelvin Fube Bwalya. He is Zambia Must Prosper party president. And of course, let's see if we can take a call. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, my brother.
Good morning. Thank you very much for calling. Please share your name and where you're calling us from.
You are talking to Musonda Vincent here in Kabwe.
Musonda Vincent.
Sure, my president.
From Kabwe.
Musonda tulife bwino mkwai mulishani.
Kwena namulondolola buno sana. Namulanda buno sana. Jombo chendelo mbatata wandi.
Mkwai.
Aba ba UPN bavinge ba this 2026. Ebakwano kubakwaya awe. Imwe kumuruko. Ikatane ni bani. Ikatane ni bombere ni cyapa mu tunyepo ubutushi uwatwingirira mutaro tetu ubutushi ubutushi andi mukaitemwe pamulu nokupatukana so ikatane ni pamuna banentwa papa tabe chibusa wesu ba president mwevo twalila kwe na Zambia ubutushi bwachila mu buteko wa UPND ubufi ro babu babati barande so barabe ba takwa omuntu wabutinga bakainde bwachira obufi ikatane ndi bane tunyepo buteko amen.
Musonda from Kabwe, thank you very much for coming through. We are grateful. The number you're calling us on once again this morning is 0761 912493. Let's take this one. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Zaki. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for calling. Please share your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Mwana Mubotu calling you from Kabwe.
Mwana Mubotu from Kabwe.
Yes. Honorable KBF, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. President.
How are you?
Yes. Mr. Zaki, I'm following this conversation with keen interest.
Right.
To hear what the Zambia Must Prosper president has for the Zambians.
Right.
Yes. But when I hear from him, there's no truth in him. There's no truth. If he calls other people liars, he's one of the liars as well. Because why I say so, number one, he said the president has only built toilets. And there is nothing that he has done. He has just done built toilets. Is he sure, even down in his heart, that the HH has done nothing in this country, Zambia, except toilets? Can't he see these classroom blocks, health posts that are being built around the country, Zambia? So number one, he's a liar as well. He's in the category of liars. Then he goes and says, Edgar Lungu has built Kasungula Bridge and HH has gone to commission that bridge. Why did he commission that bridge? Even when it was built by Edgar Lungu, why can't HH? I know he understands governance because that is not a personal bridge. It's a government property, government money that has been used to build that bridge. So HH is the president presiding now. He has got right. In fact, KBF, Edgar Lungu has just done groundbreaking there. Then HH has done completion of that bridge, and the reason why he commissioned that bridge there. So let us be truthful, even when we want to be the president of this Republic of Zambia. Number three, I was following you even before you made your own party. You are PF. Then you said the last time you said that was 2019 or 2020. You said Edgar Lungu is not eligible to stand again. Then the cadre for PF, Bamwimina, marching again. So you keep on changing, but you are calling other people as liars. Even you are in the same category. That is not right. Let us be truthful in our deliberation. Let us appreciate other people. Look, mine is there. Mine is under you, KBF, when you are supporting PF. Some mines were in courts. Some were closed. But HH comes and opens those minds, including Kalengwa, which was closed a long time ago. And then you want to tell him that he has done nothing. Sure, are you real, Mr. KBF?
Thank you, Mwanamubotu. Thank you, Mwanamubotu.
So much.
We
HH
appreciate.
Has done a lot of that.
Great.
And he deserves another term. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well.
Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate. Let me take one more and then you can react, Mr. President, on 0761 912493. That's the number you're calling us on. Let's take this one. Good morning.
Good morning, Iwazaki.
How are you today?
I'm good, General Chongo calling from Kabwe.
General Chongo from Kabwe. Thank you very much, General Chongo, for calling. Please go ahead.
Vafuve mwashuke ni my leader.
Mutende mkwaiwa General Ngabarishani.
Vafuve, you are speculating things very, very well. There is a proverb, the proverb in Bemba ilando kuti lati insofu ngailenu amenshi elo yasanga bachule bakelila taisa kama nensofu ichitafe konfleti mukunwa amenshi na tumona ba UPND they govern this country 2021 using propaganda and lies. Echo ichirelengo kutira they are even been panicking ukupanga amafunde ya ama public order act bakalamba bushe mule abanenu mwishita ya kampeni vale yana kabiri mukupoka ama permit kuri ba IG who has been appointed by the president where on earth because this public order act ilingia lesangwa kubantu ama slavery when we were colonized by the white people. Nomba we are in a democratic country. Everybody tupangira mafunda tiyonga mwaimina batatu. You need to go and get a permit. Busheva president yaka inde ichilema. Twabavoteri okupanga mabiuzi nokukaka abengi. Chachine na mulanda wino. Awabalipira 100 if they are not careful. Aye nyama funde wapangire. Mukesa umfuati if your name is not at the registrar, you will not stand even if you have paid that 80,000. So in a democratic country, the president besu akainde chilema aba tuwesha sana kunma because he is the president of lies. Chachine nga aye mwepo bapokela tawapanga pwefi alondoloka iyo matori etitulemo nayo elio zeavu n'abakongole ndalama close to 5 years more than the PF abatekere 10 years mukusondelwela bafuve na papata sana nga mule mfira kwa balanda balechula balabashirega 3 meals a day siyete batulaire ba president bale ukoleka mumukoshita fyabomba just unite mwala echo turefaya is a strong opposition to apapata bafuwe because ngatwapela another chance kubuteko obu ukesalia nelo baolede murungushi textiles kuno bali tulepa ukona ula ama allowances coming here in Kenya president is just a printing machine uko tata kuri nefire chikawi twikala mukawenia murungushi textiles nomba the president was in opposition lying. He is still in the government lying. Now, iyo bakesa. Usheba kesa mkupela pali yalia valekoloweka mumukoshi. Thank you very much. We need to unite as the opposition. Mufile kwa balanda balechula. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vachongo Esu from Kabwe. I will ask you to react, Mr. President.
Thank you very much for those questions and contributions, opinions by the Zambians out there. Bamusonda kukabwe muletira ba UPND must go. Ba General Chongo na imamu asuminisho kweba ati ba UPND bafuile baya because babufi. This is my position as well. So imwe babiri tatwatarikane sana chirife bwino. Leken tueshe in a short answer to help my brother Mwanamubotu. My brother Mwanamubotu, first of all, when it comes to principle, and you quote me correctly. When I told President Edgar Lungu the late that he was not eligible to stand in 2021, I've never changed my position. I have never ever changed my position. Quote me right. That is the reason why I was expelled from the PF. I did not leave the PF voluntarily. I was expelled because of that. So don't mislead the Zambians. No, ichonakana. When you call me a liar because nimbepa, not because you want to twist. I don't work like that. But I'll forgive you because maybe you may have misunderstood when I said before Edgar died, he called me so that we reconcile. He came to say sorry. Now, when you're a Christian and someone says to you, Isatulanshani, and you go and then says, Ichi, I was wrong, forgive me, what do? You forgive, because that's who we are. So before Walungu died, part of our discussions was for him to ask for forgiveness from me. Because when I told him that he was not eligible to stand, he misunderstood me. And he assumed from whatever information he was given that I wanted to fight him. No, I was sticking by the law. Now let me come to the Kazungula Bridge and other things that you've talked about, the mines, and you claim that Daga in the Ichilem has done something. Mwana Muboto, let us not annoy a lot of Zambians here. If you are eating 3 square meals a day, panganda pamwenu, mule ikuta, mule tasha felesa. Just thank God. But the majority of the Zambians in this country are suffering. That you must know. And they are suffering because the kind of leadership we have today under the UPND has failed to deliver on the economic front. When I mentioned the Kazungula Bridge, I wish you had listened to the words of Hakainde Hichilema when he had gone to commission that bridge. He claimed it. Mwanamuboto, he claimed it. Monga ndiye anachichita. That is wrong. If when he was addressing the public, he had said, I want to pay homage to the previous government, the PF, for this bridge when they worked in collaboration with Zimbabwe and Botswana to make the movement of our people better, I was not going to attack him. But when you claim something which you didn't do, that is wrong. Even at a government level, even at a political level, learn to pay courtesy and learn to pay homage to the people who are there before you. If you are not the one who has done something, at least attribute it to somebody. If it was in the arts, we call it plagiarizing. You are stealing my works. You are stealing my patent. My knowledge is called intellectual property, intellectual capital. You just don't claim it. Even if you're coming from a government perspective. If someone else started the work, acknowledge him. No one is going to blame you. But when you don't acknowledge the works of the previous government, I will not accept it myself. So if our level of understanding of things, Mwanamuboto, my brother, is different, forgive me. But for me, I listened to the speech of Hakainde Hichilema at Kazungula Bridge. And that is why I said, this is not correct. Because he claimed it. It is the same, almost the same speech he gave when he went to Mwinilunga for the cannery. Okay? Mwinilunga plantation there, the cannery, the issue. He was also saying, UPND has done this. No, you haven't. That was done by PF. Acknowledge. and say the previous government did this, but I'm now here and I'm in government. I'm commissioning it. No one will kill you. But don't say we have done it, because it's not you who did it. In politics, we must always learn to give credit where it's due. Ngatiwambobela bantu, my ideas, my works, and then you own them as if they are yours. That one I'm going to have a problem. With the mines, Mwanamubotu, I think you must be, I don't know, I'm a Kopala boy, you may have forgotten this. I was born and raised in Mufulira. We on the Copper Belt know the lifespan of a mine and what a mine working does to the economy in a mining town. Kabwe was also a mining town. It's dead. There was lead, zinc being mined in Kabwe and some copper there. Those mines in Kabwe, they can be revamped. They haven't been revamped. You have also heard from General Jongo telling you here that Mulungushi Textiles was a photo op. The president went there and took photos, but he says nothing is happening in Mulungushi Textiles. Am I the one who's saying this? No, it is your fellow man who's living in Kabwe. That is why I call him a liar. So when you say the mines have been opened, what are the conditions of opening these mines, Mwanamuboto? Go and ask the miners. Are the mines running at full throttle? Are the mines functioning on the basis of creation of employment? Are the mines being run for the benefit of the Zambians, or it's for the benefit of the foreigners? Hakainde Ichilema prioritizes foreigners in this country. That's the problem I have. These minerals, like I spoke before, are supposed to benefit you, the Zambians, me and you. Like I said, I was born and raised in Mufulira. The education I had came from the mineral resources of Mufulira. Those days we had RCM, NCCM, and all those towns were built around mines. So this is where I have a difficulty, the lack of appreciation of what the mines can do for this country. If you look at Northwestern Province, still on the mines, Mwanamuboto, how much from Northwestern Province have those mines there built for the people in Northwestern Province? For example, Mufulira, Kitwe, Shambeshi, Kalulushi, Chingu, schools have they built. This is our wealth. Those are some of the conditions you're supposed to be giving some of these mining companies. If you want to dig our gold, our copper, our cobalt, our lithium, or whatever minerals are under the earth, at least build us this number of houses, build us this number of hospitals, build us this number of schools. That is how you develop a country. If the miners who came initially did not build the houses they built in Mufulira, we were not going to have houses in Mufulira. There were not going to be houses in Kitwe, in Kalulushi, in Chamboli, in Rwansha, in Chirilawombwe. There were not going to be houses, because all they were going to do was leave holes in the earth of Zambia and disappear. So why I blame Hakainde Hichilema, especially on the mines, the negotiations that he had, maybe you listen to him literally. When he was talking of Vedanta, for instance, KCM, Pachingola, he's the first one who said you'll never give this mine back to Vedanta. He has given it back to Vedanta. Vedanta, who is a broke guy, who has no money, and therefore he's not reinvesting in the mine. So what are we getting out of this mine? The mine is being depleted. The miners are suffering. Equipment is breaking down every day. Don't be surprised if those mines flood and people die underground there. They are cannibalizing machinery from here to there just to make parts work. That is not how you run mines. We've got friends who are engineers in these mines. They tell us Mopani is suffering the same fate. What is happening to the suppliers who supply to the mines? They're not being paid, the local suppliers, but the foreign suppliers are being paid. Now, when there's no economic activity in the mining towns on the Copper Belt, the mining towns will die. They'll become ghost towns. If this is what you want, Mwana Mobotu, I'll leave it there for you, my brother. Maybe you are happy because you think Aga in the Ichirema is God sent. Fine. Let us agree to disagree. Me, I see him in a different light, and I think abe ngiawe na Zambia na baso minogwe ba the president to kwete mu state house wabu fee, and they don't want him. But if you still want to give him another 5 years, go ahead, my brother. Go ahead. I won't stop you.
There's a question all the way from Katete through Charles Peary, who says, can the president explain what the law states on candidates being on registrar of society list? What does the Electoral Act state in that regard?
But Ambuya Apiri, the the registrar of societies today with ECZ are working and have been having meetings with the police. These three institutions: the police, registrar of societies, and the ECZ. They've been having meetings. What they have decided is what I referred to as, being put in, it put me in a difficult position a few weeks ago, but now you've asked the question, let me answer it. I was being said that I don't want some of my brothers who have paid 100,000 kwacha to be on the ballot. That is wrong. No, these are my brothers. I was forewarning them of information I had and information which is now coming to bear. I won't name names, but you can fill in the gaps. Mweka, because I don't want to start a storm in a teacup. What the law is saying now is, if you want to stand on a political party, like political party X, but you, the candidate, do not belong to this political party called X. I'm not naming names, but you can fill in the gaps. The people to sign for you to stand as a candidate on this party called X must be the president of political party X and the secretary general together. I hope I'm clear. The difficulty we have today is that some of our colleagues who want to stand on these political parties called X or Y, the presidents of these political parties and the secretary generals of these political parties do not appear at the registrar of societies. So they cannot sign for the candidate on party X or party Y. That's one problem. The other problem is some members in the parties called X and in the parties called Y have gone to court. They have sued the Secretary General of X and the President of Y and the Secretary General of Y party and said, no, we did not go for a convention. 1. 2, we did not elect this person you want to bring to stand on our party X or Y. So there will be injunctions now. There will be court processes going on. These are things we don't have time for. And this is all I was trying to tell my brothers who are sitting in the same situation I'm sitting as would-be candidates. I was trying to say, look into the future. This Karoo, which has been put up, is going to find you in a position where the person you want to sign your certificate of adoption, namely the president or the SG of this political party, cannot sign because he doesn't appear. Or if he appears, the members of this political party have gone to court and they're saying, we didn't go to a convention, we didn't elect this person who they want to superimpose on party X or party Y to stand. Now, when you have that, it is not KBF saying you can't be a candidate. These are my brothers, and we need to work together. This is what the machinations of this so-called Mingalato is doing, because some of these people are being sponsored. Now, if you can't learn, Mbuya, Charles Piri, if my friends in the opposition cannot learn from what has been going on with PF all this time, when do you think they are going to learn when we've got 1 week before filing of nominations? PF has been fighting to get its party back for the goodness of 3.5 years. They are still in court today. There's an injunction in the High Court in Lusaka. There's an injunction in the High Court in Kabwe against PF. It is the same thing which is going to happen with my friends who are supposed to be candidates on Party X or Party Y. Now, this is not me. This is what the UPND has done. They have issued surrogates. They have released surrogates to fight their battles. So when you come and start fighting KBF, who's your friend? No, KBF doesn't want me to stand. No, KBF is saying, it is not me. Na mi papata sana mfunyeni momuliririashi. All I am saying is, these Mingalatos, you should not be found muli mwamoneni. Because when you're found muli mwamoneni, then you're going to turn around and say, I didn't know. No. I will repeat here. I was saying Kuliba Zax in a direct conversation. Uwakwebere mfwa yakwanoko. Muntanshi. Ichibemba chimochi nechitila. Ubushuku insofu ifuile mumushi. Neli ashiri bapo. Diansofu. So when these issues are going on, and then you have got somebody who's learned in the law, like myself, and I'm saying, guys, be wary. These two tricks, you may be caught napping. Then you say, no, ni KBF wamena kamba. Me, I'm just telling you what the law is. Now, advice, a Charles Piri, ni advice. You can either take it or leave it. But when you find yourself muli mwamoneni, don't turn around and say, ni KBF wamena nakamba. It is what the laws, and some of these laws, they are trying to rush through parliament, are saying. But let me say this as a last point. The Electoral Commission of Zambia is allowed to run the elections in this country. They are also permitted by law to come up with regulations and rules about how those elections are going to be conducted. Let me be clear on that. So some of the things, and I saw my friend, my young brother actually, Dr. Chris Zumani, him I can name because he's my young brother. I've got no qualms with him. Chris Zumani was standing somewhere, Golden Peacock, they had a function. People are saying Mundubile will not be on a platform. This is Chris Zumani, not me. And he was making a joke. We have read Article 100 of the Constitution. Chris, Dr. Zumani, do not give Zambians false hopes. My brother, Chris Zumani, let me ask you this. Under Article 100 of the Zambian Constitution, where does it say that a candidate must pay 100,000 kwacha to stand as a candidate? In the rules of that article you are quoting, it doesn't say. Where is this rule coming from? From the Electoral Commission of Zambia. But you obey this rule. As a candidate, you pay the 100,000 because you know if you don't pay 100,000, you won't be on the ballot. Put that aside. Where in Article 100, Chris Zumani, does it say that you must have an adoption certificate? This rule again is put up by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. You accept this rule for the 100,000, you accept the rule for the adoption certificate, but it is not under Article 100. But you want to come and turn around and start saying, no, KBF is confusing the people. I am telling you, the ECZ has got the mandate to put up rules as to how a candidate qualifies in addition to Article 100. So when you say it is me, it is not me. But I'm saying, look into the future. These two little rules they are picking up, they are putting forward, they will come and kofia you. Fialaisa fi kose kuntanshi. Songa fia kosa. Where are we going to turn the people that you and your candidate are leading them to? That's the question. So let's not give Zambians false hopes. The ECZ have put up a lot of rules which we as candidates have accepted. This is not a buffet. No, you can't pick and choose which rules you're going to accept and say, no, these are the rules I won't accept. This is the institution that runs the elections. So if you don't want your candidate to pay 100,000, don't let him pay. If you don't want your candidate to go with an adoption certificate, don't give him an adoption certificate. See if he's going to be accepted by the ECZ. Tenin Deland. These are just rules. So in addition, as a last point.
As we conclude, yes, Mr. President.
In addition to the Article 100, there are other rules which have been put up which may not be fair to some candidates, but they are rules by the same ECZ. Let's see how we just circumvent and navigate them and get to the end. That's all I'm saying. It's not me, it is these institutions of government which have come up with these rules. Ine ndemiewa kofie. Na pita.
And a minute, Mr. President, as we come to a close, your concluding remarks.
My prayer to the Zambians is that unity is very important, especially for us in the opposition. Let us unite, let us keep talking, and quickly so, let us arrive at one very important aspect. That is one. We must remove the UPND out of government with a purpose to come and give the Zambians the liberation and economic transformation that they require. And for us, as Zambia must prosper, we are open. And we want that to happen for the Zambian people. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. That's President Kelvin Fube Bwalya. He is Zambia Must Prosper Party President. And of course, geared to participate as a party and as a presidential candidate with the rest of his people into the 2026 general election. We are grateful to you, our listener, for having followed our conversation closely, and to our partner radio stations for having carried this particular conversation live on your respected platforms. And of course, to everyone that has been a part of this production, we are grateful. Remember, we will be back again this very week with the Thursday edition of The Burning Issue. And on the Thursday edition of The Burning Issue, please do feel free to join Uncle Frank or Ambassador Frank Mutubila if you like. He will be your host for this Thursday again, and for many Thursdays to come for that matter. So we can only wish you all the best, and to you all and everyone else, we say take care of yourselves and more so of each other. Bye-bye.
Tune in next week for another